You just eliminate all external distractions. You know, that's what's going on, and just focus on the process itself and enjoying it every single day. Chopping wood, carrying water. You know, greatness is not meant for a few chosen people. It's meant for those who persistently pursue their dreams every day and make that choice when they wake up. So.
What's up, guys? Back again with another video of building a startup. If you're doing something similar, click off this video right now. Like, I don't even care if you finish watching this video, it doesn't matter. Just, if you're on your phone, like, even better, pull out your phone or switch to the camera app and just start documenting things. Just literally talk about anything, talk about what you're building, just jump in and do it right now. Like, this is the sign for you to start documenting stuff. And especially because I think a lot of people in the back of their mind, they want to, or they're hesitant about it, but they don't actually go forward with it. Or maybe they'll say, oh yeah, that'd be nice, or or maybe they're like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing that, but it's like, if you don't have a definite start, you'll just keep pushing it back, right? Because it's uncomfortable. You don't wanna, I don't wanna come talk on this camera. Like, no one really wants to talk on the camera, especially when you're starting out. So until you get comfortable with it, it's gonna just keep getting delayed. So this is me telling you guys to just start documenting it. And it doesn't matter what you talk about. I had a comment that I just read today that was saying, like, oh, what should I even show and stuff like that. And they weren't confident in like their Figma design skills. And it really doesn't matter if you know a lot or you don't. You could be a complete beginner, and I think it's still really valuable to document things. You'll just get to see an even bigger transformation when you look back. Like, if I started documenting way back when I first started, I wouldn't have regretted it. I don't think anyone would regret it. You just get to see kind of how you've transformed or how you've progressed throughout time, and having that whole collection of videos would just be awesome. Like, you're never gonna look back at all these videos and be like, oh, I regret doing that. And the right time is never gonna come either. So you just have to choose a day, or you don't even have to choose a day, just start now. Like I said, click off the video to start now and talk about, it can be as simple as showing what you're building, like what things you're working on, what things you're struggling with, what things you want to get better at, just showing the process of what you're doing. And keep the mindset that you're doing it for yourself, and you're not trying to make every video perfect, because the perfect video doesn't exist. And at that point, if you're trying to make the most perfect video, you'll never be satisfied with it, and then you'll just never post it. So you almost just have to go into it with the mindset that the first few videos, if not 10s, 20, like whatever videos, are gonna suck. I still don't even think my videos are good. But that's the whole point of, like, you keep going to keep getting better, right? And if you have that mindset to where you are okay with, okay, these are gonna suck, but that's good, because then I know, like, I can only get better, right? So I don't know, there's no downside to it, especially if you're in software. It's like one of the best ways to market it too. You get eyes on all your work. Like, it's just, the power of having an audience is crazy. And I think a lot of people hold themselves back from getting there. And they just have to start, right? And if you're worried about being judged, like, I know some people, even me included, back when I started fitness videos, I was worried about, you know, friends judging you, because it's out of the norm, right? Like, especially if none of your other friends really do it, and you're the only one making YouTube videos, and especially if you don't have that many views, like, you could get in your head where it's like, oh, like, I don't know, you start getting self-conscious. But first of all, the views don't even matter, right? None of that even matters. The only thing that matters is that you can stay consistent with it, and know that no judgment even matters. Like, if you're taking a step to get to where you want to go, and if someone's judging you for that, that's just a reflection on them rather than over anything else. And that shouldn't be the reason that's holding you back. It's like a totally valid reason. Like, I was in the same boat, and it is weird to kind of have, especially if you're not the person to kind of make videos, it's weird to kind of have your friends look at that and kind of see you as this person. But it's one of those things where you should just do it. And like I said, until you get comfortable with it, it will feel weird. But once you get comfortable, once the first few videos are done, you'll look back and say, why did I start so late? Like, you'll wish you've started earlier, because that's what most people experience, right? They either get to a certain point and they're like, damn, I really wish I documented that. And even just imagine when you do build something that actually turns into something, and you have the full collection of videos documenting the whole process, like I feel like that would just be invaluable, especially when people find you at that level. You know, people will be quick to assume, oh, he got lucky, oh, he got all this, right? But when you actually have the full, like, video by video, like years worth of backlog of the videos, it just makes the end goal so much of a bigger deal, right? Because you have proof of, like, this is what I went through to get there. And I think that is, you just can't regret that. So yeah, that's the rant anyways over. But yeah, just start. That's all you got to do. First few videos won't be perfect. They'll never be perfect. Just start. Okay, so I set this up in here because I have, this is my old laptop that I never use, and I've only used a little bit. This is really messy, by the way. Like, this is not making no setup wars video ever. But it's that's my old laptop. It's a pretty old, like 2017 MacBook Air, but I mean, like I'm gonna test it out to see if it can run things well. But I had a spare keyboard, and then an extra mouse too. So I wanted to keep this strictly like the workroom and have some sort of like new environment for working, because like I was saying last video, I find it so hard to focus like when I'm trying to work, right? And it's like when you have 3 monitors and you're just like an alt tab away from doing what you want to do, like there's just too many distractions. And not only that, everything is in my room right now, right? Like the main setup, my bed, like everything happens in the room. And it starts to become like there's no line of like, okay, when am I working, when am I not? You know, it's like your brain can't associate it with that. Like there's no difference. It all just kind of blends together, right? So I'm hoping now that this, I mean, it is super messy. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, get that TV mounted or something, do at least a little bit more. But I think it'll be good to have this dedicated space where the only thing I do on this computer is work-related stuff. Like, and that's it. And then almost like, I don't know how many of you guys work from home, but it'd also be kind of nice to kind of feel like you're going into an office again, you know, where it's like, this is the designated space to work. Because when you're working from home and you do everything in your one room, like it just feels so boring. So I feel like this will be kind of nice. You can kind of wake up and then come in here, and then this would be your designated spot. And not to mention, this is the same chair. So if I wanted to go back and go to my other setup, I'd have to wheel out the chair and walk. I mean, it's not that far. It's right here, but walk right here. And then, like, you know how much intention's behind that? Like, to wheel the chair all the way back here, sit down, load up the computer, which this computer isn't even that fast. So it's like, I'm hoping that there will be enough friction or resistance between doing that like when I'm in this room here, that my brain will just associate it with work, and that's like all I do in this room. And I think it might help a lot. So yeah, I mean, today's the first day and it's already been going pretty well. Like I've been able to focus and get a lot done. So I think if you do work from home, picking a room that you don't use for anything else and just making it the room where you work, I mean, probably everyone does that, but it's definitely probably going to be a game changer, at least for a little bit. I mean, obviously you'll get used to it. It'll just become normal eventually, but I still think my brain associating this room with working will be so much better than trying to do every single thing on that same setup in my same room. Like I think this works out a lot better. And just to touch more on like how you won't feel ready, this was I want to say like 2021, so like 3 years ago. It wasn't the first time using Figma, but it was like one of the first. Like it had to be me just getting started with it. So here it is. And at the time I was like, this is fucking dope. Like at the time I thought this was awesome. I mean, like the principles are there, but the color scheme, like who chose the color scheme? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I still don't think I'm the best designer ever, but it just goes to show you how you make progress without even knowing it, right? I think this was going to be I didn't even build this, but this was going to be my portfolio website. The landing page here, some projects, whatever. And then this was another landing page. Like these are probably one of the first kind of designs that I'm doing. I think there's one more over here. This was going to be for my agency site. Didn't finish building it out. as you can see, it's like you'll never really feel like 100% confident because there's always so much to learn, and it's so hard to feel like super confident. Like imposter syndrome is pretty common, especially in creative and design development, like in those industries it's pretty common. So the best thing you can do is start and learn and keep getting better. Like that's the recipe to just improving. But that's how you should do everything. Just start and then just you'll slowly get better. And my Figma design process, like I know I don't use Figma to its full potential. I don't even know how to really use it. Like if you really think about all you can do with it, I know probably a very small percent. I'm efficient because I got used to doing it the way I do it, but I could probably save so much time if I actually knew how to use it properly. Just for example, like I don't use any layouts or anything. Like I literally just create boxes and line them up and just use it as a rough starting point. But my process too for just designing things is just iterative, right? So like as you can see the icons, I don't even bother wasting time. Like my like they're all different icons, they're not even the right icons. Like I just don't like wasting time on that. My whole like philosophy with designing things, I know there should be a system to where you kind of flesh out, you make it perfect, right? And like you can nitpick all the things, that's the final version. But when you're doing things by yourself and you're just trying to get things out fast, you kind of know you'll change things like while you're developing it out or coding it out. So I don't get too strict on myself, even if some things are off or not centered. I know when I'm coding it, it will be. So even just for the icons, for example, I don't waste time doing that. But my whole process starts, I'll just start with something, right? And then as I think I get somewhere and I'm like, okay, I want to try something different, I'll copy and paste and I'll just keep doing that until kind of just trying a bunch of different things, right? As many ideas as you can, and you can just see like slowly the small things, right? Just keep kind of adding up, and you can see how just trying different things, repeating it, whatever, copy pasting, and then you'll see how I get to kind of the final. This was what I was struggling with a lot, but you'll see I try a bunch of different things, right? Different layouts, keep the things I like, and it takes a lot of iterations until you're really happy with it. But then you get to a point where you are, and then, but that's all it is, right? It's just iterations, just copy paste. I don't use any, like, there's no consistency with like the spacing. I completely eyeball everything. So like that's probably not even fully centered, but I know when I code it, it will be. So there's small things like that. I know you probably could do it the better way by like making sure you're keeping everything straight and, you know, perfect. I just like to, if I have an idea, I just like to try to get it out as fast as possible, mess around with things. If I don't like it, quickly copy paste whatever, move on to the next thing, and just try to get the ideas out as quick as possible, right? I don't want to focus on the very small details, and then by the time I'm done leveling stuff, then it's like I forgot what I was even gonna do. And even for example too, like this is the assignments tab, the last assignments tab that I did, and it looks pretty different because just the table library I use. So everything changes, right? And even when I'm coding things out, maybe sometimes, you know, you'll be coding something and then you'll be like, when you see it on your actual screen, you'll be like, you know what, I think it looks better this way. You can just make adjustments on the fly. I think it's just much better to adopt that kind of mentality of the design process because it's just so fluid, right? It's hard to keep it hard set. Obviously, if you're in a massive team, you have to go by all these guidelines and everything, and make sure that the developers can read the design properly with all the specifications. But if it's just for yourself, I wouldn't waste too much time trying to nail down the perfect design. Just try to spit out as many ideas as you can, copy paste, next iteration until you keep refining it until you like it. And then once you like it, start coding it. And then you'll see things that might look better, right? Because you have the actual screen now, and then you can just switch it up on the fly. Like it's so much more efficient that way. At least that's what I find. And also our feature-based thing, it's so dumb because I thought once our trial ran out, I thought we could still use the front end portion, but it just redirects you to this. So trial's coming to an end. So I can't even use this anymore. Like I could use a different account, but we can't move the little cards over, and we can't even, like, I have to reply on a new account. I don't even know if I can still make an account on it. It's like it completely shut us out. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna use that. We'll probably have to make our own. which shouldn't be too hard, honestly. Like compared to what we're doing now, that like wouldn't be that hard to code out. Like it really wouldn't. Maybe we'll try to find like something that's really quick to set up and use that for the time being, because it was really helpful to see all the feature requests, but yeah, now we don't have one. So hopefully we get it out quick so that if people do have kind of bugs or feature requests or whatever, they can they have somewhere to put it and they don't have to email it to us, because that's what I wanted to avoid. Okay, this is the assignment page, the individual one that I'm kind of working on. So I started developing this out a bit, but this is the design that I'm kind of going with, you know, title, whatever. You can do most of the changes in here. You can link your PDF, kind of like the course syllabus, but like for assignments too, so you can quickly open it. Write some notes. I'm thinking, I wanted to keep this part simple with like the description here, but I'm thinking you could put like, yeah, links to resources, any notes, like GitHub repos, like important stuff, just to be nice to store there. And then this is also something I've had in mind for a while, but to kind of make more use of the tasks, right? And so now you kind of have these subtasks where you can split up an assignment. So say if it's like a bigger assignment and you don't want to just say put the assignment on one day, because it's like that's a big assignment to finish in one day, you can split it up into subtasks and schedule them on the days too, right? And I'm gonna take this a step further once the agenda page is kind of revamped and you can actually schedule a time block for that specific task. And what will be cool too, this is going to be kind of a sneak peek for the future, but imagine now if this was a collaborative tool, right? And you had a group project and you can literally delegate the tasks and you'd be able to assign them to each people in your group project, right? That's obviously way down the line, but that's kind of the whole idea too with this, breaking it up into subtasks. That's kind of what I'm rolling with now for a bit. I'll try to get that done this week, hopefully this weekend. And then next week, I think the agenda stuff will take me a little bit, so I don't know how much I'll have to update on next week, but we'll have to see for sure about that. Also, so I've been starting to journal a little bit, and nothing crazy, you know, like I always believed that journaling can be really helpful, especially if you feel like you have a really stressed out mind and you're kind of struggling to even understand what's going on. Like you don't even know what you're stressed about. There's just so much noise. I find journaling really helps with that aspect, because you can really kind of slow down, and just something about writing out everything on paper, everything that's going on in your head, you can kind of start to connect the dots on things, understand things better. And it's almost like a release, in the sense that once you kind of journal about what you're feeling, you can either maybe you'll like come to conclusions about why you're thinking or stressed out about certain things, but just getting it out almost kind of calms you down, and then you can kind of move on, and it's out of your head now, right? And then now you can kind of go on and forget about it, and now you're kind of more centered with the day. So I haven't done it a lot, but I wanted to get back into it. So something I was writing about this morning was, and hang with me here, okay? Because this might be a little bit, there is going to be a lot of disagreeers with this probably, but I'm just kind of getting into the power of using delusion, and I'm still trying to figure this out as I say it, so this won't be the most perfect explanation, so it's kind of like I'm figuring it out as I'm talking now too. But the power of using delusion to achieve success. And now I'm even more curious to see how many people that are successful or have achieved like a lot, how delusional they are, you know? Like I feel like if you could use that as, like, use it to your advantage, I don't see how it can hurt you. And let me explain. So obviously when you're delusional, it's either, I don't know if delusion is the right word, or ignorance of the stats, right? Because you'll see all online everywhere, right? Even on Reddit will spew all this like, okay, well, what are the odds? Or the odds of like 8 out of 10 businesses fail within whatever, 99% fail rate. You'll just see all these stats just getting thrown out, like 90% fail rate. Like just, they all kind of shape your perspective of that you are doomed. And first of all, where are those stats even coming from? Maybe they are backed up. But for a moment, if you could just almost genuinely believe that, okay, that either doesn't exist, or delude yourself into thinking that you could completely beat the odds, And then that's why I'm thinking delusion isn't the right word, because if you're just kind of ignorant to that, all those stats, how does that hurt you? Because now you're coming at it from a sense, because if you think about all those stats, it's like it's inevitable you're going to be doubting yourself, or there'll be some sort of self-doubt kind of creeping up, because obviously no one wants to hear, oh, I have a 90% chance of failing this. Like, oh, what about the backup plan? This is risky. Like, if you hear that, you're going to eventually get to a point where you're going to crumble and give up. So if you get so delusional to the sense that you are so sure that this is going to work out, like there's no doubt in your mind, like those stats, who cares about those stats, right? Like if you can genuinely control that and genuinely believe that, I don't see how that is going to hurt you. If all of those kind of thoughts do is hold you back and make you doubt yourself, if you do the opposite, I feel like it would just keep you moving forward, right? And I think there's going to be times where you're going to hit a lot of roadblocks where you will want to give up. And maybe it's not even being delusional to achieve something. Maybe it's more like you're being delusional, if that's the right word, to watch yourself grow and become the person that you want to be, right? And I think it is also, it's always the people that are seemed crazy, right? And you might be watching this too and think, oh, this guy's insane, this guy's crazy, like he doesn't know how hard it really is. And okay, but if you just allow yourself to just ignore that, and you're just so confident in the sense that this will eventually work out, I would argue you would have much more chances of succeeding, and not even succeeding in one thing you're doing, but you have higher chances of success because you just won't give up, right? If you're so confident that it will work, if you fail, it's like, okay, sure, but you're so confident still, you can just keep going to the next thing with the same drive over and over again, and eventually that thing is going to work out. So whereas if you kind of had the same thing where you're listening, or the opposite, where you had all the negative thoughts and you're believing them, like, oh yeah, this is going to be like a lot tougher, like it's risky, like, it's like if you can kind of just think of like, keep telling yourself that it's easy, it is easy, like obviously it's not, but if you just keep genuinely believing that this is easy, like it's gonna happen, like, and you kind of reframe your mind. Like, even I was watching this video earlier today, and he was saying even just the chances of us being alive is like 400 trillion to 1 or something like that. I don't know how those stats came to be, but even if that is the case, we've already beaten the odds. So what is it to say we can't beat any more odds? And I think a lot of people, like especially parents in our generation, are really locked into this box, right? Where anything outside of that box is too risky, can't pursue it, it's gonna fail. Oh, well, just look at the stats, right? And it's like, keeping that mindset, it won't make you go far. So you almost want to use delusion to help you keep on pushing forward. It's almost like you do want to be seen like you're crazy, because once you get to a point where people are thinking you're crazy, you're already kind of at a certain level that they can't even comprehend. Like, and just as an example too, with this, like I'm a big fan of GT3s, the cars, the Porsches, and I put in my journal entry, I said, I wrote this down this morning. I was like, I'm gonna post this entry with a picture of the car. Like, I'm gonna hold it up and take a picture beside, speaking it into existence. And obviously to some people that's gonna be like, okay, well, this kid's crazy, it's obviously not gonna happen. But if you can genuinely believe that it will happen, your chances of success just goes up. I don't think there's all these negative stats, throw them out, whatever, or you can throw them out there, whatever. There's no point to focus on that. It's only going to hold you back. I think if you can really hone in your focus on what you're doing and just forget about all the negativity of it, it just sets you up for a much better trajectory. And I would like to make the argument that the top successful people are the most delusional people. And you can even think, like, it just comes down to where like we're all human. If someone else can do it, like, you absolutely can too. So I don't know why you would want to think these things, even if the stats are 100% true. Why give them the power over you? You should be able to take control of that and take control of your life. Like, surely you would have more control over your life than a stat, and it's like, yeah, it might not work, it might not succeed the first, second, third, fourth, whatever amount of times. But if you're so sure that you are going to beat the odds, eventually you will get there. If you let those kind of self-doubt from all this negativity creep in, you'll hold yourself back and give up. It's just going to happen. So I think you can use delusion to your advantage, and the more delusional you are, the more successful you can be. So I know that's going to be a very jumbled rant, because like I said, I'm still trying to kind of piece it together in my mind as well. But yeah, I think it could be a very good tool to use. So let me know what you guys think about that anyways. And it will be chopped up a lot, so I apologize for how I was gonna reshoot it, but I think keeping it as raw and whatever is good. But yeah, anyways, that's gonna wrap up the video. I don't want to keep it going. I think it's already upwards, maybe even 30 minutes this time, so sorry to the one guy last video who said, bro, can you cut? I feel like I'm in a Zoom meeting. Can you keep them to 10 minutes? Like, last thing I want you to do is make you feel like you're at work. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys next week.